Hello, welcome. My name is Dr. Drew Leader from Loyola University, Maryland, and I'm here to talk about healing using messages and information drawn from my new book called The Healing Body. Let me take you into PowerPoint. This is the book that I was mentioning, and I'm really trying to address what happens when we get sick, like this woman here. Injury, illness, disability, aging, all of these things, our body can give out on us. And in disrupting the physical body and our body as we live it out in relation to the world, a lot more is disrupted. For example, our experience of the body. In certain ways, we are our body, but in other ways, it feels like an object outside us, and it can even turn into a kind of enemy, something we don't understand or control when we fall ill. This affects our experience as well of the temporal world because we feel cut off from our past, uncertain about our future, constricted to the present of pain and other symptoms. And similarly, our spatial world constricts. We're unable to move freely in the way we had previously. We may be confined to our room or the bed, or our attention may be confined to the part of our body that is hurting and giving out. And that, of course, takes us out of our customary relations with others who are going about their ordinary lives, but we are unable to join them or maybe even fully communicate with them and get empathy from them about what we're experiencing. And with the serious and long-term illness or disability, the very sense of who we are, what we thought our life purpose and narrative was, how we thought the universe works, all this can be disrupted. So let me take you out of this PowerPoint, but I'm going to go to my website and where I have created an interactive version of what I call the Chessboard of Healing, the way in which when our body gives out, we can heal ourselves, by which I mean pulling ourselves together existentially. All these things that were disrupted, disintegrated by illness, even if we don't receive a medical cure, we can find ways to reintegrate our life, our movement through the world, our relations with others, such that we have a whole and fulfilling life, despite the physical problems. And there are many, many different options, many ways in which people go about doing that. I've tried to capture 20 of them on this 4x5x4 matrix. And each of these quick videos, I'm going to try to treat one of them. Previously, there have been some videos about escaping your body, ignoring, refusing, objectifying, transcending the things that are happening there, because after all, we feel like we are so much more than just our body, and it doesn't need to capture and constrict our entire life. However, now we're moving to that part of the chessboard that goes in the opposite direction, accepting and listening to our body. Today, we're going to focus on listening. And when you click on this interactive chessboard, you see that every square, every possibility space, both has benefits and also potentially a shadow side. I'm going to focus a little bit more on the benefits. So let me come back to you in person. And let's talk a little bit about the benefits. And I'll start with a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche, the famous 19th century philosopher who wrote, quote, "Behind your thoughts and feelings, my brother, there stands a mighty ruler, an unknown sage whose name is self. In your body he dwells. He is your body. There's more reason in your body than in your best wisdom." So he has an interesting point. It's kind of countercultural because we're used to thinking our mind or soul as the center of wisdom. But Nietzsche is saying, actually, in our body, which often operates subconsciously, it is sending us profound messages and guidance. If, for example, I get low blood sugar, which I do, my body lets me know it. I begin to feel perhaps an ache in my empty stomach, but also my relationship with the world, the way the words start to swim on the page if I'm reading a book, or I find myself becoming more anxious or angry. These are signals from my body that I need to eat. I need to regulate my blood sugar. Um, our culture, I would say, has done a pretty poor job of preparing us to hear the messages of the body. We sit in school and we focus on our mathematical and other kinds of mental prowess while the teacher says, sit still, don't move. It's not lunchtime yet. Uh, Not too much recess today. And so we shut down and even learn to override these messages from the inner body as we try to be a good student, a good worker, a good mom, or whatever. Um, or if we're hungry, we throw some quick sugar at it. If we're tired, we throw some caffeine at it or electronic stimulation. But it's not necessarily what our body is really asking for. And sooner or later, if we don't pay attention to our body, if we're too sedentary, poor diet, sleep deficit, etc., it compromises the immune system. Our stress hormones are elevated. Our gastric and cardiovascular systems are starting to break down. So we weren't listening to our body whispering and then talking until finally it yells at us in some kind of end stage disease. And whether or not the illness or disability, incapacity that we're suffering from was caused by this bodily inattention, it's pretty much always true that paying attention to our body helps us with rehabilitation and healing. We kind of need to listen to what exercise will strengthen an injured limb and when it would overtax us. Um, we need to maybe drink some soothing milk if we're having acid indigestion and not another diet soda. We need to know when to rest up, when to clear out the clutter in our bedroom, to get a more harmonious environment, or go for a walk in the woods. And often, as we get older, or if we're wrestling with an illness, one of its benefits is it really encourages us, and in a certain sense, even forces us to pay much closer attention to the illness. So I call this once again listening. And when we listen to our body, we can avoid having to take medications with unpleasant side effects. We can avoid some of the expense and health insurance complexities of going through the medical system. We can perhaps avoid those kind of end stage organ failures that lead to drastic surgeries, transplantations, etc. So listening is free of charge. It's available to every individual, and it's our friend. So the strategy, once again, we're talking about today is listening. And of course, I go into this and others much more deeply in that book I mentioned, The Healing Body, Creative Responses to Illness, Aging, and Affliction. So thank you very much for listening today to myself, True Leader, and there'll be more such YouTubes, etc., posted, one on each of these strategies. Thank you.